Could a Glasgow gangster be the true mastermind behind the £2.6 million Great Train Robbery? Top crime expert Brian Anderson says he's convinced Glasgow Godfather Arthur Thompson Sr. was the brains behind the 1963 heist, which saw £2.5 million of cash stolen from a train travelling from Glasgow to London. The Great Train Robbery was carried out by a gang of 15 men, headed up by Thompson's pal Bruce Reynolds. With inside information, the gang intercepted a Royal Mail train travelling from Glasgow Central to London Euston, tampering with the signals to hold the train up at a railway bridge in Buckinghamshire. Though the gang didn't use any firearms, the train driver, Jack Mills, was beaten over the head with a metal bar and suffered serious head injuries. They made away with the equivalent of £70 million in today's money, hiding at nearby Leatherslade Farm. Within 5 days, the police found the hideout, along with incriminating evidence including a monopoly board with fingerprints. But by then, the gang had fled. In the end, 2 informants helped identify almost all those involved, and the ringleaders were sentenced to 30 years in prison. But writer and photographer Brian Anderson, who has spent 3 decades documenting gangland Britain, says the robbery could not have gone ahead without the approval of Arthur Thompson, who was running Glasgow at the time. Thompson ruled Scotland's crime world from his Ponderosa home in Glasgow's East End, and was friends with one of the train robbers, Buster Edwards. Thompson arranged hits for London gangsters including the Krays, and they would do the same for the Glasgow Godfather on his home turf. Anderson's theory was confirmed when he photographed and interviewed the infamous Ronnie Biggs shortly before his death, but the robber was too ill to speak. Biggs had escaped from Wandsworth Prison 15 months into his term, fleeing to Paris, Sydney and then Brazil before returning to the UK in 2001. Unable to speak, Biggs used a board of letters to answer Brian when he quizzed him on the involvement of Arthur Thompson in the Great Train Robbery. He pointed out the words that said, "I might have suffered a stroke and I might be in my 80s, but I'm not a grass," winking at the photographer. Anderson reveals the claim in his new book, based on his life photographing and interviewing the UK's most feared crime figures, writing, "I don't think something of that level could be organised without tapping into or getting the approval of Arthur Thompson, who was running Glasgow at that time. I'm more convinced than ever that Arthur Thompson was behind the Great Train Robbery. He was the brains, the mastermind." Thompson ruled the Glasgow crime scene for 3 decades and survived several assassination attempts before he died from a heart attack in 1993. Such a notorious Scots gangster, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren have to remain anonymous for the safety of the family to this day.